Hi everyone, it's Jay here and these are some manga and manhwa releases for the second half of December. Gonna start with the Kodansha releases. Confession Volume 0. Stranded in a blizzard atop a treacherous ridge, badly injured and quickly bleeding out, Ishikura knows he is about to die. But before he does, he decides to unburden his soul by telling his companion, Asai, a dark secret that has been weighing on him for years. No sooner do the words cross Ishikura's lips, however, than Asai stumbles upon the shelter they'd been searching for, only to realise his friend's confession has changed everything, and the brutal elements may no longer be the deadliest threat around. I think this sounds absolutely fascinating. I really want to buy this. A new series, ReAnima. It's the near future in Tokyo and the average temperature is around 170 degrees. Humanity lives underground to escape the deadly heat, only seeing the surface through the eyes of remote-controlled robots called ReAnima. Shinano and Kara are members of the Enforcement Bureau, policing surface crime and illegal ReAnima mods. But Kara has a secret. The Fable Omnibus 5. The vicious Lieutenant Tsunagawa is on Fable's trail and planning revenge. Meanwhile, Fable has taken his new apprentice on an educational camping trip, complete with hallucinations and bear attacks, and Yoko has put yet another romantic victim in the hospital. But how long can these days of fun and frivolity continue? When will Tsunagawa make his move? The Moon on a Rainy Night Volume 6. Saki left her last encounter with Kanon red-faced and reeling. After an offhand comment by Kanon almost laid bare Saki's long simmering feelings. Has Kanon finally learned the truth? When Saki sees a flyer for a fireworks festival, she remembers how Kanon once lamented not being able to enjoy festivals after losing her hearing. A new series release, Ashitano Joe Fighting for Tomorrow. A young drifter named Joe Yabuki wanders through the slums of Tokyo, but when the local ruffians try to give him a hard time, he teaches them a rough lesson with his fists. The spectacle sparks a gleam in the eye of an old drunk who happens to be watching. Danpei Tange, a failed boxer and former coach who sees something special in the boy. He pleads with Joe to train with him, but the cocky young fighter brushes him off. Later though, when Joe is arrested and put in a juvenile detention facility, he realises that he's going to need to hone his raw fighting skills if he wants to survive. Kusunoki's Flunking Her High School Glow-Up, Volume 3. Despite getting off to a rocky start, Kusunoki's friendship with Ririka Hebikawa is going relatively well. Now that she's made her first female friend and her social skills are improving, high school swandom might really be within reach for this ex-ugly duckling, if only she were better at school, and a little less clueless. Blue Lock Volume 16. It's the second half and one side is certainly doing better than the other, but I don't want to say more due to spoilers. Volume 2 of the Spellbook Library. After passing the Spellbook Library's rigorous entrance exam, Yan and Toru are sorted amongst the library's ranks, but the two boys barely manage to get themselves settled when a powerful evil spell beast is released from its spellbook. From Yen Press we have a new series called Blind S. High schooler Maika Sakuranomiya can't seem to land a part-time job, so when an opportunity comes knocking, she is up for anything. Waitressing at a cute cafe sounds perfect to her. The manager demands that each waitress adopt a quirk in their service, and she's ready to put on any persona. Well, almost any. Dark Moon the Blood Altar Volume 5. Though not through any will of his own, Heli has taken up arms against his vampire brothers, resulting in a situation as perilous as it is cruel. Unable to escape the powers of an enemy vampire who can take control of their bodies, both Heli and Khan's group find themselves struggling to get out of danger. Goblin Slayer Volume 15. The Goblin Slayer party sets out for the Elven village after getting a wedding invitation from High Elf Archer. And with such an exciting event promised at the end of the adventure, it would be cruel to leave Cowgirl and Guild Girl behind. But bringing civilians along means deeper danger when goblins strike. A new series called I Tamed My ExHusbands Dog. 15 years after the death of her father, Reinhardt Link finds herself travelled back in time to the day of his funeral, alone with the very man responsible for his death, Prince Michael Alenketh. her betrothed. Loath to waste the opportunity, Reinhardt stabs Michael in his leg, and is subsequently banished to the cold and isolated domain of Ludum. However, her exile turns into a blessing in disguise when she stumbles upon a wild boy in the forest. Meeting this mad dog may be the key to Reinhardt's revenge and the start to a tumultuous romance. Jungle Juice Volume 6. The dust settles in the wake of the Predator's carnage, and Nest is in bad shape, to say the least. But what better way to strike back and rout a much stronger enemy than launching an ambush? With insider information, all Su-chan and his friends need is a way off campus and the element of surprise, which is easier said than done with a traitor in their midst. A new series called Lucio Has a Dream. Awakened by a radiant light, Lucio realised he'd been asleep for a long time. Stretching to the horizon before him lay an abandoned world. Whatever life had once taken root here was long gone, leaving Lucio all alone, except for Claude. Now, with a self-proclaimed 500-year-old archmage for his only companion, Lucio will set off on a journey to discover how alone the two truly are. I love this cover, I think it's absolutely beautiful. Another new series, My Secretly Hot Husband. Letitia was reborn into another world after her untimely death, but that was only the start of her hardships. A series of tragic events forces her to work like a servant at her uncle's house, until he sends her off to marry the infamous Monster Lord, Erden Halstead. But once she arrives at her new home, Letitia's fear is quickly replaced by a whole slew of questions. Why is she randomly finding modern objects from her previous life that don't belong in this fantasy world? Why is her supposedly hideous and evil husband such a sweetheart who really loves bunnies? And most importantly, why is he so hot? Of course, that's the most important question. Nights with a Cat Volume 4. It may seem like house cats have it made, but it's not all lazy naps in the sun and playing with catnip mice. Kuga also needs to deal with his owners constantly fawning and preening over him, and this adorable fuzzball is about to be subjected to all sorts of well-meaning but unwelcome behaviour, from trimming his nails, cleaning his ears, balancing small items on his head, to even the most dreadful fate of all, a trip to the vet. Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint Volume 5. In the penultimate stage of the cinema dungeon, Dokjar's group find themselves in the midst of a fierce naval showdown. This should be a piece of cake. After all, it's a reenactment of the famous battle won by Jihei Lee's constellation. But Dokjar's confidence soon turns to panic when he finds the heroine of this story reduced to a tearful mess, racked by sorrow and guilt. Will Jihei succumb to her trauma, or can she draw her sword and become the peerless ruler of the sea she's destined to be? Senpai, This Can't Be Love, Brush Up. CG designer Kaneda has gotten into a romantic relationship with his supervisor, Yanase, whom Kaneda idolizes like a god. Kaneda tries to do his best at work, but he's so overjoyed to be next to Yanase that he finds himself getting nowhere, unable to focus on his job, especially when Yanase's excessive physical intimacy makes him melt on the spot. Kaneda tells himself things can't go on like this. I thought the previous volume was a standalone, but it looks like this is a sequel series, as there is a Volume 2 of Brush Up coming out in the future. Sword Art Online Abec Artworks New World. This third collection of SAO illustrations highlights events from volumes 16 through 22 of the main story, as well as volumes 1 through 3 of Sword Art Online Progressive. Art from the anime and games is also featured, along with all new illustrations you won't find anywhere else. The Kept Man of the Princess Knight Volume 2. The past catches up with Matthew when he's violently reunited with an old lover, Polly, leading him to recall the last few years. Being stripped of his power by the Sun God, the friends and enemies he made while down on his luck, and his first encounter with Arwen. The Uncanny Counter Volume 4. The counters face off against one of the few things that's more terrifying than a host: two hosts. As the number of atrocities these hosts commit grows, so does their power, and now the counters must prepare themselves for what could be a fight for their lives. Ubel Blat Deluxe Edition Volume 1. Rumours stir throughout the land When the wielder of the black sword draws his dark blade, all who stand in its path are torn asunder. Coinzel, the mysterious young boy who carries the black sword, undeniably wields it with exceptional skill, but can he truly be responsible for the bloody rumours? Pursued by the traitorous lances, 4 powerful warriors who are thought to have been defeated by the 7 heroes, the strength of the young swordsman will be tested to its limit. At battle's end, only the shocking truth of Coinzel's quest will stand above the corpses of his enemies. This is apparently an epic fantasy on the grandest of scales. From Titan Comics, we're getting a new series called Corpse Blade. This series is set in a zombie-infested Tokyo. School, chores, killing the undead, all in an average day for Tsuranuki Tsutsuki. After his sister is kidnapped by the zombies, he sets out to save her, becoming handy with a gun. But he won't be alone, as he encounters another kid on a quest, a mysterious high school girl who can command the awesome power of the Corpse Blade. Somali and the Forest Spirit Volume 1. This is set in a world ruled by goblins, spirits, golems, and all types of strange creatures, but not humans, who are nearly persecuted to extinction for their reckless disregard of the natural world. When a golem, a guardian of the forest, chances across a young girl lost in the woods, he vows to take care of her, despite his life coming to an end. He must find other humans for her to live with, but in a world that despises them, is that even possible? Working for God in a Godless World Volume 1. When Yukino is sacrificed by his father to the all-powerful Mitama, he prays that he can finally be without religion. He wakes up in a placid world free of faith and begins a new world there. But when the truth is revealed that the ruling empire purges the citizens, Yukino must find his faith and summon Mitama to protect them. Elegant Courtly Life of the Tea Witch Volume 1. Described as a heartwarming and cosy series, it tells the tale of Remy, a lowly tea witch using her magic to brew the finest cup of tea for the noble lords and ladies. All she really wants is a quiet life creating gorgeous displays for shop windows. But she's slowly drawn into a world of intrigue as her incredible powers of transformation make her the gossip of the court and the object of affection for a naive princess. Moving on to the Viz Media releases, we have Blue Lagoon Volume 13. The members of the Five Fingers hit squad have shaken things up in Rwampur, and the major players in the city have had enough. After being captured by the crew of the Black Lagoon, the Major decides she wants out and agrees to lead the Five Fingers into an ambush. With Dutch as the bait and Hotel Moscow as the trap, the bullets fly. Dandan Volume 10. To avoid being late for school on Vamola's first day, Momo takes the mysterious kaiju girl on a shortcut through some off-limits ruins, but the protection spell they perform doesn't work, and she runs into the slit-mouthed woman who resides there. Fool Night Volume 3. Kamiya is trying to make the most of the time he has left before completing his Spiriflor transformation. But when his childhood friend Horai becomes the latest victim of a mysterious Spiriflor that somehow remains capable of human-like movement and functioning, he finds himself drawn into the hunt for this deadly creature. Highq 3-in-1 Edition Volume 3. The inter-high match between Karasuno and Aoba Josai continues. Star setter Toru Oikawa has figured out the secret behind Kageyama and Hinata's quick sets and has them on the ropes, and then Kageyama loses his cool. Insomniacs After School Volume 8. After Nakami's valiant effort in the school festival's race, Magari resumes her late-night radio streams. She opens up about living with a congenital heart defect and shares her fears about her condition. Nakami pledges to fulfill Magari's dream of travelling when they grow up, and in the meantime to support her in her current goals, starting with fixing up the observatory. Mission Yozakura Family Volume 14. Kyoichiro vanishes, leaving behind only a note that says, "Don't look for me." At first, everyone thinks it's just another one of his typical sulking fits, and they take advantage of his absence to cut loose. Shoha Shoten Volume 6. It's time to travel to Osaka, where the 10 best comedy duos in the nation have gathered. This is the start of the competition that will crown the best high school comedians in the country, the Wara One Koshien. Ultraman Volume 20. Tensions between Earthians and aliens continue to rise, and an old enemy makes a deadly return in this volume. Psalm 100 Bucket List of the Dead, Volume 16. The gang hits the road again in Kyushu. Their adventure comes to an abrupt stop, however, when they run out of gas in the mountains. Takemina and Izuna realise it's up to them to save the day. They make for a house with lights on for help, but they soon learn this house has a sinister history. Do Retry Volume 1. When he refuses to stay down during a vicious beating, Aozora gets scouted by a Yakuza boss affiliated with an underground boxing league. He soon finds himself in the ring with no training but a powerful secret weapon, his tenacity. But will it be enough to overcome his opponent's training and devastating techniques? He'll find out. Fist of the North Star Volume 15. Among the three Rasho, the generals who rule the lands of the Asuras, only Hyo hangs on to the shred of his humanity. Deceived into believing that Kenshiro is responsible for the death of his sister, Hyo enters the demon realm to confront him. Don't Call It Mystery Omnibus Volumes 11 and 12. At his classmate's suggestion, Totono signs up for a sketchy part-time job. Meanwhile, as Garo and his crew continue the search for the truth behind his sister's murder, they find themselves hot on the heels of her therapist, Naruko. Is the doctor somehow responsible for what happened? And if so, how far will Garo go for revenge? Orb on the Movements of the Earth Omnibus, Volumes 7 and 8. This is the final volume of this omnibus series, so go check it out. Parallel Paradise Volume 20. Yota must search the world's morbid runes and get answers from the guards. What is the true identity of the Empress, and where do her allegiances lie? A standalone from Seven Seas Entertainment, Beautiful Things. After a tough breakup, Matsuoka finds solace in a surprising place, his ex-girlfriend's wardrobe. Donning her outfits, he embarks on nightly escapades that garner a whirlwind of attention, not all of which is welcome. One perilous evening, Matsuoka is rescued from an assault by his unsuspecting co-worker, Hirosu. Hirosu, an endearing klutz, is completely taken by Matsuoka's disguised persona and falls head over heels. As Matsuoka thrives in the glow of Hirosu's adoration, the weight of his secret looms large. How long can he keep his true identity hidden? And what will unfold when Hirosu discovers the truth? Hikaru Man Volume 1-2. A supernatural manga series about a high school nerd who uses his mysterious ability to manipulate electricity to take revenge on bullies. This is from the creator of cult hits Homunculus and Ichi the Killer. Cat Companions Maru and Hatchi Volume 2. The nice lady who fed the stray cats stopped coming to the park, leaving Maru and Hatchi in a difficult situation, and then Hatchi was gravely injured. To ensure their survival, Hatchi makes a surprising decision. Will Yasuro, who the stray cats fear, end up being their saviour? Continuing with the cat theme, we have Volume 5 of My Cat is Such a Weirdo. Tonchan has been gaining more presence as the leader of the Tamagoyama family, while Shino-san continues to approach life at her own calm pace. Along with the growing foster cat, Taneo, there is always more cuddly cuteness to share. Though I Am an Inept Villainess, Tale of the Butterfly Rat Body Swap in the Maiden Court, Volume 6. Taken hostage, Reirin in Keigetsu's body, and Keiko must face the untouchable village's retribution by toiling in the rice paddies. It's just the type of challenge the earth-loving co-siblings delight in. Their bamboozled captors are left in the dust, whilst the dynamic duo launch a top-to-bottom agricultural revamp, but their days are cut short when a familiar face joins the captives. Perfect Buddy Volume 2. After seeing his co-worker, Young-chan, Hyun-soo finds himself plagued with the filthiest thoughts imaginable. Clearly, the only way to rid himself of these fantasies is to avoid Young-chan entirely, but Young-chan doesn't appear to have gotten the memo. No matter where Hyun-soo turns, Young-chan is there, being his annoyingly perky self. When Hyun-soo's patience runs out and he causes a scene with Young-chan, the two are sent to their shared room to work out their differences. Can't imagine how that's going to end. The Yakuza and His Amiga Volume 1. Nikura Wakana is a struggling romance author whose latest challenge is to interview Tatara Kunimitsu, the irresistibly handsome and notoriously unattainable leader of the Kokyo Yakuza. Dubbed an alpha among alphas, Kunimitsu is an enigma wrapped in the allure of power. In her daring attempt to reach him, Wakana infiltrates a high-end club as a hostess, only to be ambushed by her first heat. Our Sweet One-Room Apartment, a mature-rated BL manga about miscommunication, cohabitation, and love between two college students in Hokkaido. Kaname and Shima have been living together for a year. Things are going well for the couple, at least until Kaname begins to think he's a sex addict and starts avoiding intimacy. Shima, on the other hand, mistakenly believes Kaname is bored of him. Will their long-awaited trip to Tokyo resolve this misunderstanding before it snowballs into an avalanche? My Next Life as a Villainess. All routes lead to doom. This follows a woman who is reborn into an otome video game as the Villainess. After a disorienting first day at the Bureau of Magic, Katarina quickly settles into her new position. Luckily, she has her friends to fall back on, especially after finding out there are even more doom flags to come. Volume 13 of Danc in the Vampire Bund, Age of Scarlet Order. The first vampire is back, and not only is this vampire god trying to recruit more followers to his cause in the Bund, he's also hanging out with Singer Ruli and her friends who are completely unaware of the very real danger he poses. And then, as the frantic search for the first vampire and Ruli begins, another crisis is unfolding. Revenge Mrs. Wrong Volume 4. This is the final volume of the series, so if you want to see how this mess all ends, you'll want to buy it on the 31st of December. My Girlfriend's Child Volume 6. Malicious gossip about Sachi's pregnancy continues to follow her wherever she goes. Ostracized by her peers and pressured by her teachers, she now has another difficult decision to make about her future, namely how and where she should complete her education, that is, if she's able to at all. Will Sachi end up abandoning high school altogether, or will she find the strength to pull through for the sake of her unborn child? I Swear I Won't Bother You Again, Volume 5. After Lady Violet committed a grave crime and was imprisoned, she lost consciousness and woke up to find herself transported 1 year back in time. Determined to stay out of trouble, Violet vows to stay out of everyone's way and live a quiet life. But to her dismay, other people just keep interfering with that dream. Her friends and enemies are all acting nothing like how Violet remembered and keep seeking her out. And now that prince has something he wants to confess. From Inklaw we have My Love Story with Yamada-kun at level 999, Volume 2. After college student Akane was dumped by her boyfriend, she met Yamada, a handsome high school boy and pro gamer, while playing an online RPG. In-game, he brushed her off, but in the real world, Yamada helped Akane escape an embarrassing encounter with her ex. When Akane's guildmaster invites her to an in-person meetup with other members of their guild, including Yamada, she eagerly accepts. But things get tense when she meets Runa, a player who didn't want to include Akane or any new members in their guild activities. From Square Enix we have My Happy Marriage art book. This art book contains more than 80 illustrations by Rito Kosaka, interspersed with exclusive short stories written by the series author Akumi Agitogi. At the end you'll find behind-the-scenes commentary by Rito Kosaka detailing some of the series' most iconic illustrations. This book looks beautiful, but honestly, I'd rather they focused on releasing the manga series. We've been stuck on Volume 4 since September 2023, and I've just found out that Volume 5 is coming out in April 2025. I really wish they'd spent more time on the manga, as I've been dying to find out what happens next. I'm sure they have a good reason, but it is slightly frustrating when there's a massive delay in the manga, but we're seeing that all the anime and the light novels still coming out. So there aren't as many manga and manhwa releases as normal. I think because it's Christmas time, people won't be spending lots of money in the second half of December. Well, that's a lie, I'm sure people are spending lots of money. But I think people usually have less money to spend on themselves. So maybe that's why they haven't released as many. I hope there's something there that you want to read. There's definitely some series that I want to start buying. And that first one, Confessions, sounded really, really good, so I really want to pick that one up. As always, you can use the code JAYSMANGA to get 5% off at SciFier.com. Their prices are already really cheap, but getting an extra 5% off is always fun. I hope you have a lovely end to 2024, I hope that you had a really good manga year, you managed to get all the series you wanted, and you managed to read lots of manga and manhwa as well. I know I've read quite a lot, more than the previous year, and I'm really excited to read even more next year. Have a lovely manga buying month, everyone. Bye!